Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. War number 8 is coming up here. This one really needed to be a bounce back war, both for me personally and for the Alliance. And fortunately, a lot of things clicked for us as a group and for me personally today, and it went pretty well. Before we get started with the footage, I do want to just kind of address something that's been on my mind a little bit. And this is sort of related to my channel and other channels that kind of specialize on war videos. It's just a friendly reminder to the viewership that when you produce a war video, you really are kind of bearing your soul to the community, because these fights you only get one take to take down a war fight. It's a little bit different than solo content where it's just your own account, your own time, your own resources without other people depending on you. You can go in multiple times and kind of get that picture perfect highlight reel of a fight. In war, you only get that one chance, and this has not really happened too much on my channel. Like, I will occasionally get a little bit of hate or, like sort of judgmental comments and things like that. But I have seen it on some other channels in the comment sections where, someone will die and something will go wrong. And then there'll be a comment that was like, I can't believe you didn't use X champion, or why didn't you do this, with sort of like a more pointed criticism than being a constructive criticism. And, again, I would just sort of caution people to kind of look at the big picture. It's really hard sometimes to solve these maps and to get the absolute perfect counter for every single fight when you only have 10 people and 3 slots on each of their teams. And of course, if someone is going through the trouble of recording the war, viewing it back, doing a commentary, they're doing it to kind of educate themselves so that they learn and don't make that mistake in the future, but also to educate other people so that they may not make the same mistakes in the future. And so, if you are going to make a comment like that, just remember that like a good constructive criticism goes a lot farther. Like, hey, I saw that you did this. I've taken this fight before. Maybe you should have, used this special or thought about this. Things like that I always appreciate and want to hear. But just remember that, like anyone who's posting these videos, like they're obviously aware of the mistakes that they're making. And, just kind of be kind to each other. And especially if you're not making these videos yourself and sort of letting it all out there for the world to see, just remember that it is taking a little bit of vulnerability for people to post content like this. And I would just encourage you to be respectful. So anyway, that was just my little start to the video. Let's get the footage rolling here right about now. And one of the ways that I died this season was against a clairvoyant with Elsa, and it was partially because of input issues, but it was also because of Mystic Dispersion getting out of control. So knowing that, kind of speaking about with my opening blurb there, knowing that, I'm going into this fight knowing that I need to slow down, basically only bait her special ones. Her special 1 is super easy to bait. The special 2, I'm not always 100% on, and there are chances for her to go unblockable as the fight progresses. So we're just kind of playing the node, letting it be purified, and then sort of as soon as she gets over a bar of power, instead of getting too aggressive, I'm just going to, go here, bait the special. As you can see, I have the 2 precisions on me. One is from her kit, one is from the node. I also got a random unblockable on me from her abilities. So that was like 3 Mystic Dispersion procs all at once. It could have been very easy to push her to a special 2. So again, baiting another special 1. With Elsa on this node, it's really easy to just kind of like go ham and just be super aggressive because she counters the node so well. But, again, just keeping track of her unblockable. Sigil Witch was unblockable herself a little bit, getting nullified. She's getting more Mystic Dispersion procs. I'm just playing this safe, knowing that I can probably finish this with a full yellow bar if I play it just right. We get a weakness on us, which heals us a little bit, and then it's purified. I have a lot of buffs on me right now, so again, just trying to be careful of that Mystic Dispersion. But yeah, that, to me, compared to the Claire fight that I died on, I think my approach there was way better. So now I'm going to just pause the video real quick, because the next fight that I had was unfortunately lost, and it was against Domino on node 25, which is ironic because earlier in the season I fought Domino on node 25 and the footage was lost. So I don't know if Domino is like crit failing my screen recording or something, but it was just weird to me. Like, I had plenty of storage. I checked that it was recording, and then it was over, and I hit stop on the recording. So I really have no idea what happened, but it is really unfortunate because that was actually one of my best fights in the entire season. I used Ghost, and Ghost isn't necessarily the best counter there, but we couldn't fit a Warlock anywhere, and so it was on me. I turned on the recoil tree masteries, and the big thing when fighting Domino anywhere is you can't depend on the Wasp synergy, because there are times that you will dash back into your special 2 and it will not phase, and therefore it will not go unblockable. So you can't just like throw a special 2 into the block. And in fact, that did happen. And considering there was like footloose and kinetic transference, there was a part of the fight where I had to just play Ghost as if she was just a normal tech champion. And that's what she is at times. She's just a tech champion who has class advantage against Domino, who has above average damage. Even if you don't play into the phases and things, you can still do side steps with her. You can still find your openings that way. You can still parry if you need. Like, at one point I had an armor break on me from crumbling armor, so I just parried and heavied, got a fury, and moved on. And then I decided to use an indestructible boost instead of a power start 1 because of the very thing I said. If the special 2 doesn't crit, if it doesn't phase, then the whole advanced power boost followed by power back boost strategy isn't going to work for you anyway. So I would rather bank that invulnerable. If you do take a special 3, it's probably not the end of the world because you might be able to phase the bleed off of it and you'll be saved. So yeah, either way, I was really proud of the fight. There were some moments where I really had to think on my feet, and it went well. And if you don't believe me that I took it or not, I would recommend checking out Slaymon and DLL's video, because they did the middle section with me after this. And you'll see that Domino was standing and then she was down, and that it was probably me who took it, if you use some investigative skills there. So yeah, again, pretty sorry that I don't have that fight, and maybe I'll just have to like triple check that recording feature is working the next time I take Domino. But we are fully boosted with Ghost, and we're going to start the rest of the clip right about now and talk about this Apocalypse on path 4. So I had recently taken an Apocalypse on node 24, the EMP modification one. So for this one, the strategy was going to be pretty similar, which was just like absolutely nuke him. And just hope that he never throws a special, basically. And like I said, I do have recoil tree on. The one thing that can make this fight go south is if he throws a special, I get the armor break on me, and then I'm not able to phase. I have to stall, and I could do something bad there. However, there's not really a way for him to get 3 debuffs on me unless if I get hit by a special. There are no additional debuffs in this fight that just sort of pop out from the air unless if I get hit. So he shouldn't go unblockable, but if I like miss a dex of a special or something, I could be in trouble. So we're seeing how amazing the recoil tree masteries are for Ghost. Those initial basic hits just hit so hard. We got our boosts completely squared away once again. As I've talked about before with Ghost, like knowing the correct amount to boost is over half the battle, because when you boost the correct amount, that's what happens. So DLL was still on that Jabari fight, and I'm probably going to get both of these down in the time it takes him to do one fight, just because Ghost is Ghost. So ironically, another iBom. The last time I used Ghost in War, it was an Apoc followed by an iBom. Here we have crumbling armor, and it is possible for him to go unblockable if I get too many poisons on myself, so I do need to be a little bit careful of that. So we phase, we go in. Once again, the recoil tree is just making these hits so hard. We get our first special one, we get back to 2 bars of power, and that's it. So yeah, another wonderful Ghost fight, and that's what you want them to look like. As you've seen on my channel, they don't always look like that, but I am getting more and more comfortable with Ghost and boosting and all that stuff. And again, I'm really glad that I changed around my masteries in this war, because it just made it a little cozier. So next up we have Void, and this Void is on a pretty normal node for me to take him. It's got the Mighty Charge and it's got Ebb and Flow Intercept. You've probably seen me take this a million times, but you know the reason Elsa is so good here is she completely can control the debuffs coming toward you. She doesn't really have to parry, so Mighty Charge isn't that big of a deal. You don't even have to worry about reparrying. And if you dash back at the beginning and do your well-timed block counter evade technique with him, that's going to count as an intercept. So we back off first, and then he dashes at us. We do our well-timed block. As you can see, we have the passive Fury. We're doing full damage because that counts as an intercept. It's one of the cleanest ways to start this fight. You don't have to worry about, you know, like a counterpunch charge or building monster mass with Mole Man or something. It's just is in her kit. You take no damage from it. It's just like a perfect way for a free intercept. So he has protection up again. When I bait that special one, I created some distance so that I could once again get the free intercept. Did a backdraft there just because it felt safe. Because of her high sig, you'll notice that the Hellfire rounds, which come off of the special one, as well as the medium ending hits, are going to be doing almost double damage if they crit, just because of her, basically her sig ability there. So yeah, that went about as clean as it's ever gone. But I've taken that fight so many times now that, you know, I can expect it to go well. And finally, we have the revenge fight. I've soloed this twice, and I died to it once this season. And I really reviewed the footage of how I died. And basically the way, I mean, I got hit, first of all. But the main way that I died was I didn't have a clear strategy for my first true opening of the fight. When he dashes toward you, if he does a medium and you immediately counter with a medium, that counts as an intercept and it won't be auto blocked. If you're a little slow on it, he will auto block you. If he throws a light next to you, it won't count as an intercept and you're going to get auto blocked. So again, kind of going back to what I said about the Domino fight, like you have to remember that Ghost is also a normal champion in MCOC. Like, yes, she is Ghost, she has a different play style, but there are times that you can do techniques with her that you would do with Warlock or Guardian or like another tech champion. And what you're going to see here is something I practice in the duels to get my first opening. So I'm just going to phase at the beginning to build some power, watch the timer. Now I'm holding block, I'm going to bait a heavy. Right at that point, I lose my precision, and then that is how I get my first opening. And that worked so well. And every time I did that in the duels, it worked. It was like a perfect pattern to get started. Notice that I blocked the special one there so I don't get power drained. He would actually reverse the power from my sig ability if I took the hit. I don't mind if that poison ticks for a couple seconds. I would rather have him come to me and then do that big special 2 to end it. And yeah, that was as clean as that's ever gone. And felt really good because, you know, like I said, I really needed the revenge after that last one. So concluding thoughts on this war, we ended up winning. We actually had our best performance as an alliance for the entire season, which at this point in the season is really good to see, because if we continue that type of performance, then we're going to be in really good shape toward the end of the season. I think the biggest difference with me was calming down, not panicking when things went wrong, and just sort of like allowing myself to play slowly and really keep track of what was going on in the match. And because of that, I probably had my cleanest war of the whole season. 6 fights. Unfortunately, one of them didn't record. But yeah, they went pretty well. Some of them were not easy fights, and feeling pretty good about that. So anyway, thanks for listening to this video, for checking it out. Hope you guys had a great holiday, and I will catch you in the next video.